Bruce Goldberg Live is brought to you by Product Name, the name behind the product behind the name. Live and on relay stations throughout the world, you're watching Bruce Goldberg Live with special guests tonight. We haven't announced them yet, but anyway, this is live and we're doing it right now. So give a nice big round of applause for Bruce Goldberg. Nurse. There we go. No sound. Now we've got sound. There you go. It does help if we've got sound, right? It helps. There we go. Now, where do we start? Gee, we'll have to start again. We'll start from the beginning again. Here we go. Start again. Bruce Goldberg Live is brought to you by Product Name, the name behind the product behind the name. Live and on relay stations throughout the world, you're watching Bruce Goldberg Live with special guests tonight. We haven't announced them yet, but anyway, this is live and we're doing it right now. So give a nice big round of applause for Bruce Goldberg. Nurse. Microphone on. There, that's better. Now we've got the microphone going. Boy, oh boy, I was worried what was going on there. It just helps when you press the word microphone and you turn it on. Welcome to it, Bruce Goldberg Live, brought to you by Product Name on this great planet of ours. The name behind the product, behind the name. If you've got anything on your mind you want to have a talk about, just give us a call on the numbers below. 0481 825 554 if you're in Australia, or if you're outside, call out of your country and then dial 61 being Australia, 481 825 554. So what's been going on? We've been away for a few weeks and we're all refreshed and back and all that sort of stuff. We've got the guys in front of me here. One day we're going to turn the camera around and show you all these people in our production team that put all this together. They're from Madways. They're a production company called Madways, and that's what happens at the end when you see Madways Productions at the end. It's a bit of a takeoff of something else, but we won't go there on all that. Anyway, it was good to have a few weeks off. Here we are refreshed and ready to rock and roll. So if you have anything you want to say, type it in the box or give us a call. What's been going on in your neck of the woods? Let us know. And there's our number right below there, and you can type in our box if you're shy and you don't want to ring us. It's okay. You can ring up and give your company a plug if you want. You can ring up and ask me a question. I usually answer every question out there. Well, nearly every question anyway. Whatever's on your mind, just give us a call and have your say. Lockdown seems to be easing up here in Australia. I don't know what's happening in your neck of the woods if you're watching us from another part of the the world, another country, because we're going out through YouTube and Twitch and all these other streaming services. But here it's starting to ease, and we're allowing, at the moment, until Friday, 10 people into a restaurant and 10 people into a pub. A lot of pubs have decided not to go with that because it's not worth their while on 10 people, right? So June the 1st, we then get an allowance of 50 people into a pub or a cafe. And that should cover most cafes. Not all of them, but most of them. So that's what's happening here in Australia. If you've got a different situation going on in your neck of the woods, please, by all means, give us a call or type it in the box below and tell us what is happening here in the world that we live in. Just say it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. What else has been happening? Well, I was not feeling too well. You might remember a few weeks ago, and it was like a flu-y, buggy thing. It wasn't corona. It's okay. It's not 19. But I feel fine now. It's all good. It usually happens at this time of the winter, or as we approach winter. Hello, John. Welcome to the show. I just saw your message there because this is live. You can type it and have your say. Can hear you. You can hear me, John. That's good. If you look, just do what John did. Type in and have your say. It's that easy. Or you can give us a call on the numbers that appear on the screen below. I'd love to talk with you because it is live. One thing we do ask, though, if you're going to ring in, just make sure you have the volume down in the background because we've got a little bit of a delay going on here, and you start hearing yourself back, and I start hearing myself back through your thing, and it gets very, very confusing and screws up everything. So just have your volume down in the background if you're going to ring us, because there is a little bit of a delay, obviously, because it comes out through Goldberg Manor, and we make sure we get out the good things, you see, and that's why the quality has to be 100% in the way of broadcasting. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. I'm just saying it. I'm only kidding. I'm only joking. Hello there, Jennifer Cohen Levert. Great to have you on board. See, it's that easy. All you got to do is just say hi. Let me hear what you got to say, folks. It's part of your show too. You know, look, this happens because of you guys, not just because of me. And you know, if you want to have a say, by all means, do so. We've got, hopefully I've got Lizzie coming up in the UK. I don't know. I haven't even organised anything with Lizzie. She's probably out at Tesco in the UK because they're still in major lockdown over there as far as I know, because I've got relations and friends over there and they're all telling me that they're in massive lockdown. So we'll see if we can get Lizzie on a little bit later for a bit of a laugh, as Lizzie usually does have a bit of a laugh. Hello, Nikki. Welcome to the show. I see you writing there. Hello to you too. It's that easy. You just have to write down or ring up. Don't be shy. I won't bite your head off. We had one guy saying he's too scared to ring me. Why? What am I going to do? Just give us a call. I'm easygoing. I've got a good sense of humour. Give us a yell. Here's our number right here. If you're in Australia, if you're in this lucky country, 0481 825 554, or from outside the place, you can call us on 61481 825 554. Oh, I've had a really busy week. You know, my business, I do a lot of things, but one of my businesses has just taken off through the roof in the last few weeks because I think business is starting to get back. So the demand, that's the biggest, I've just done the biggest no-no in TV and radio, and that's bumped my microphone. Shame on me. Anyway, the business I do basically promotes other companies and all that sort of stuff with the stuff that I do, right? And that's just one of the businesses I own of many. And in the last few weeks, it's got really, really busy, really busy. I'm not complaining. I'm happy, but it's just interesting to see how and why it just takes off like a rocket. It's just amazing. Hello, Sally Betts. Welcome to the show. Welcome to you too, Sally. You know, it's good that you've turned up here, Sally, because we've got a debatable topic. You've probably read it. And the topic is, and this can be worldwide, this topic, so because we do go out to the world now, not just locally in Sydney's eastern suburbs, we go out locally. Basically, people that cook from home without a license and without any permission. I've just done it again. I just bumped the mic again. Without any permission at all, they cook from home and try to sell commercially. That's the thing. Now, Sally is from council here in Sydney, and she's very well known. And I'm a big supporter of Sally Betts, as a lot of people already know. And there's a few other friends I've got in council there. But I'd like to hear what, from a council's point of view, what will happen to these people who are on Bondi Loop, who've tried to advertise on here, that don't have a license. They're just cooking from home, cakes and pasta. I've seen it all. Look, don't take me the wrong way. Good on them for trying in this really hard economic time, okay? Fantastic. It's very entrepreneurial. I'm for entrepreneurs. That's fantastic. But do it right. Get a license, get registered, get your kitchen checked out by the health department first, because I don't know if I order from you what I'm eating or where it's been, or if there's cockroaches running around on your bench where you're making your food, or someone's doing something horrible that we don't know, or you're going cheap on something and doing something wrong, or handling, chicken and then meat or whatever. It's a risk that we all take by buying homemade food during this crisis. And it competes with restaurants that are paying mega rent. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, and look, there's a lot of people that support the home delivery, the home cooking stuff. I don't, unless it's licensed. It's like driving a car without a driver's license or a pink slip. Would you put people's lives, including your own, at risk by driving a car without a pink slip or a license? Would you? It's the same thing. This is the same thing. You're putting people's lives at risk without being approved by council. And there's tons of them at the moment. Just go to Bondi Loop, have a look at them all. Bondi Loop's a Facebook group, by the way, for the people internationally watching this. But for the people locally watching this, they all know what Bondi Loop is, a Facebook group. It's got 15,000 people. I spoke to the owner of that the other day, actually, the admin. He and I talk. I won't deny that. It was about something else, though. But, I'm sure he doesn't want to be responsible for people's food poisoning. I've had food poisoning. Sure, I've had it from a restaurant. I'll name it. I had it from the Chinese restaurant in Rose Bay that used to be there on Old South Head Road, which is no longer there. I'll say it because they're not there anymore. Ask my doctor. He's got the record of it. I've had food poisoning from restaurants before, sure. And it's horrible. I don't wish that on anybody. But you're taking a massive risk when you're buying food from a homemade meal from somewhere you don't even know if they've been approved, and they're probably not even approved. Sally Betts says, I think it could be a problem as it could be a really bad health problem. Yeah, if I knew the person, I may ask them. Okay. Well, you mean the person there's more than one Sally. There's several people trying to sell food on, well, they've tried to sell here and I've kicked them off. And I got called arsehole. I was called everything. I got the PMs to prove it. And the person's from Mexico. Okay? They're probably here on holidays from Mexico or stuck here because of the corona thing. Okay? Look, good on them for being entrepreneurial. Fantastic. 10 out of 10 for that. But don't put people's lives at risk by trying to make and cook food, if, you haven't got permission to do so. Do something else. Go and deliver people's food with Deliveroo if you're going to do it. Do that, But Sally, they're everywhere. They're on Bondi Loop, Local Loop. They've been trying on ours, but I'm sure they're on other boards too. It's, it's everywhere. Anyway, Alistair says, that said, I would be okay but not if I don't know them. That's right. If you don't know who you're buying it for, it's a stranger advertising on Facebook. Of course, you've got to be cautious if they're approved or not. There's some guy selling Japanese cakes on Bondi Loop. There's other meals too, but I'm just thinking of one. Japanese cakes. Okay, you pick it up from a house. There's no approval there. There couldn't be. It's totally wrong. Get a license and then do it. And I'll support you. I'll even give you free ads on here. But you've got to show me a license. And I'll double check it to make sure it is correct. Jennifer Cohen-Lovett says, Bruce, there is an autistic child missing in Randwick. Could you ask people to keep an eye open? Hatzler are trying to find him. Thanks. Yeah, I saw this. Now, his name, what was his? Someone posted that. I think it was Dana Einstein posted that was it Dana or Debbie or somebody? Somebody posted that up on our thing. Can you give us a bit more information of what he looks like and all that sort of stuff? And where was he last seen in Randwick? Because that would help. That would really, really help. He's been missing, I think, for just over an hour, if my memory serves me correctly, because I did see that, and I was a little bit concerned about that, and I was going to mention that tonight, but you've beat me to it, Jennifer. Good on you. That's something that, you're looking now. Okay, that's something I was going to mention. I remember, and you probably will remember this, most of you, quite a while ago, there was a guy missing, and I came up with an idea, and sure enough, this other guy that we found finally did go check into Westfield Bondi Junction with his parking ticket or something or other, and we found him. He was over in the North Shore, and he's fine. That was a long time ago, though. That was very early Goldberg show live days before we had all of this stuff, the talkback stuff, and went international. His name is Gil. That's right. His name is Gil. If you can post his photo up here, Jennifer, if you could post his photo up here so we can all see it that are watching this right now, that'd be absolutely fantastic so we know who to look out for. So he's autistic. His name is Gil, and he's been missing, and it's cold out there tonight. It really is. Look, I'm wearing a jacket myself in Goldberg Manor. We've got internal air conditioning here in Goldberg Manor. We've got Fred Flintstone downstairs running on the conveyor belt, heating up the room. But, you don't want to be out there because, it's cold. So if you do see Gil or have a look for him, do the right thing, get him home or call his family or contact somebody, the police maybe, and get him safely home. Because he's a guy. He's a guy with special needs, obviously, and he needs to be looked after, especially on a freezing cold night like tonight. You don't want to be out there on your own, even if you're in 110% health. So please look out for Gil. Anything else going on? We've got Edith Stepan, her name is. She's given an angry emoji towards me. I don't know why. I don't know Edith Stepan for a bar of soap. Maybe she's accidentally pressed the angry button. I don't know. I don't mind if you're being angry at me, Edith. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Just let me know, though, what it is that you're angry about. Maybe something I've said, something I've done. I don't know. It can't be everything to everybody. There's 4,000 people out there who are members of this board. Can't be everything to everybody. It's totally impossible. It was an okay. That's no problem. It's an accident. You wouldn't be the first to do that. It's an accident. Even if it wasn't, I don't mind. Look, you can ring up and have your say. That's fine. Anyone can ring up and have their say. Say whatever's on their mind. Or you can type in the box and we'll talk about the discussion. We've been talking, who could be angry with me? Oh, there's plenty that would be. There's plenty, Leslie, that would be. Hello to you, Leslie. Welcome to the show. I know you're a Goldberg supporter, which is good. Good thing. There's plenty of people angry with me. Oh, I can name a whole group of them. They all hang around. What's that woman's name again? Someone. Oh, I can't even remember her name. She's got a wannabe board, which is full of ads and crap, and they sometimes give me a lot of crap. But that's all right. We have a file on every single one of those people that write that rubbish for legal reasons, obviously. But yeah, there are a few people that are angry with me. Well, people that don't win court cases must be angry. I'd be angry if I lost a court case. But there's obviously a few angry people out there. But you know what? The truth comes out in the end, right? Anyway, so if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. We're talking about home-cooked meals being advertised on Facebook and other places without permission from council. They're illegally operating. They haven't got health department approval, and they're risking massive fines. And during a crisis like COVID, it's more than ever these people are doing this sort of thing. And it is really scary to think, because I've had food poisoning. I'm sure a lot of you have had food poisoning. And yeah, you know what? I've had food poisoning from restaurants. I won't deny it. Sure. It is my mum, and it was a typo. That's all right, Nikki. That's okay. I understand. That's okay. That's all right. Look, people sometimes do angry emojis, and they really mean it. hey, no problem at all. That's all right. I thought it might have been a mistake. I thought that's a bit odd. But anyway, that's okay. So have your say. What do you think about these home-cooked meals? People trying to make a buck at home? What do you think, folks? What do you think? What's on your mind? Do you agree with me, or do you can have your say. You don't have to agree with me at all, and I'm fine with it. Do you agree that there's something should be done about these homemade people that are making homemade food, or do you think they should be just approved without being even given the go-ahead by council or whatever? They just should be allowed to do what they want to do, and that is sell you food that you take a big risk in buying. It's up to you. I mean, well then, why would restaurants then have to be put through the ringer for health reasons? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Have your say, folks. Don't be shy. Just type it in the box or give us a ring. I'd love to hear from somebody. Give us a ring. Eve Israeli. Hello, Eve. How are you tonight?
Nurse.
How are you, Eve? Yep, I agree. It is wrong. Yeah, I know, Eve, you're a supporter of not having home-cooked meals sold. I know that. I saw your response on the board earlier in the week. Yeah, it's wrong. It is totally wrong that they do that. But you may think it's right. Look, we had a poll, and a lot of people said they're cool with it, they'd buy, and a lot of people, more people, said they wouldn't. You know? I think it's supply. If supply equals demand, then it works, says Helan. Okay, supply equals demand. How does that clear up the health issue, though? The risk of... See, look, let's put it this way. If one of those people makes someone sick, they could be sued for a lot of money. And as Leslie says, which is correct, insurance is involved as well. That is 100% correct as well, Leslie. So if one of those people cooking at home makes somebody sick, they're in all sorts of strife. They could be sued. Oh, my God. And also, if people are caught without the license and everything, well, they're going to get massive fines. And then how do they pay for those fines? And they lose everything. So they're worse off than when they started and what they're doing it for, to make money during this crisis. Yeah, they're not thinking ahead. You've got to think ahead in business and in anything. You've got to be wise. You can't just do a knee-jerk reaction. You've got to think ahead. Helan says people have choices. They do. They do have choices. People can choose to break the law or to obey the law. So tell me, Helan, obviously you're a person that is for the cooking at home debate. Tell me this. I mean, you know, there's no problem. You're allowed to have your say. And I respect that. But I need to ask you, though, Helan, do you drive a car without a license? And do you drive a car without a pink slip? I'd love to hear your response to that. Or do you drive at all? I don't know. But I'd love to hear that, because I can see where you're coming from with this. But I think there's more people opposing your way of thinking than agreeing with it. But that's up to you. You can tell us and explain to us why you choose to have your way of thinking. That's fine. I mean, you know where I'm standing with it. I make it extremely clear where I stand. Totally against it. But I'd love to hear you, Helan. I mean, you can give us a call. I'd love to have a chat with you over the phone. Really, I would. No, I'm a business person, and these times all rules have been relaxed. Okay. Helan, give us a call. I'd love to put you live to air. Give us a call on 0481 825 554. If you're in Australia, that is. I don't know where you are. If you're outside of Australia, give us a call, or I can ring you. I don't have a problem with ringing you if you don't want to pay the phone call. But I'd love to have a chat with you in relation to this and see where you're coming from. I think you're going to have some good points. But I think it'll be a very interesting conversation we'll have. I don't think it'll get too heated, but I'd just love to have a chat with you, because I don't think any laws should be laxed, etc., etc. Pardon me. Eve Rose Israeli says, it's also unfair to people that have businesses and can only do takeaways now. Still paying rent. Exactly, Eve. I totally agree with you on that one. Nurse. Totally agree with you on that. It is unfair to the restaurants. I've said that earlier. I mean, it is. They're paying mega rent. They're struggling as it is. I mean, before Corona, some of these restaurants were dying because of the rent and no foot trade. Leslie says, however, these rules protect the health of people. Correct. They do. They're there. It's called standards. And that's the difference between Australia and other first world countries and third world countries. Because third world countries don't have the same standards. That's why they're third world countries. And this person that abused me earlier in the week, because she asked me, and I told her straight out on personal messenger, no, you can't, it's illegal, calls me an asshole. And then I did a bit of investigating on who she is and where she's from. She's from Mexico. Surprise, surprise, third world. And then some idiot comes on and says, don't be racist. Nothing to do with racism. It's got nothing to do with it. It's abiding by a law called a standard, a food standard law. That's what it's there for. It was introduced well, truly before COVID. It was introduced way back probably in the 40s or 50s or somewhere around there. I mean, look, there's some things that, you know, you think, oh, we used to have those, you know, homemade jams and cupcakes and stuff like that at the school fetes back in the 60s and 70s and 50s and all that. Now it's not allowed. Well, times have changed. People don't give much of a shit anymore when they're trying to make money. That's the truth of it all. It is. They don't care. Leslie says, e.g. barley belly. Correct. Again, yes. Correct. Barley belly. There's a classic third world. But the resorts are good. They're like first world, but you step out of their third world. You know, would you buy something without permission from the health department? I agree that we need regulations, but these are different times. I'm sure that once we are back to normal life, then council will step in again. Hang on a minute. The council never stepped away. They're still there, Helan, sorry. They're still here. The council hasn't moved anywhere. They're still here finding people for running this sort of operation from home. And that's just the way it is. Helan says, we are not third world. That's right. We aren't third world here in Australia. I don't know where you're from, but are you talking about where you are or you're living in Australia, where we're broadcasting this from? Or are you from somewhere else, Helan? I'm not quite sure where you're from, so I don't know if that's making any sense. But Australia isn't a third world, no. Nor is the United States or the UK or Canada or New Zealand or Japan. Japan's so clean. I've been to Japan. You can eat off the floor in Japan. They're all first worlds, all of them. But when somebody... okay, you're in Sydney. Well, I didn't say we were a third world. I said we're a first world. Okay? It's when somebody tries their third world way of thinking with food here in Australia, I will say, yeah, they're from a third world, being Mexico. Mexico is a third world. It is. And we don't need to be brought into that or brought down to that level of food handling. Otherwise, we're going to have an epidemic on our hands. And the funniest thing is, earlier in the week, just after I mentioned all of that, someone from a newspaper, the Sydney Morning Herald actually, I'll mention who it was now, was tracking down a food poisoning cluster in the eastern suburbs somewhere, I think it was around the Bondi area, and she wouldn't reveal too much to me. I asked her, but she still wouldn't reveal it because journos don't reveal too much. And she asked me to ask you guys whether anyone has experienced food poisoning, and there was one or two that did. And that's just coincidental. When I brought up to her the fact that I'm asking at the moment about these homemade meals from people's houses, she jumped off her seat and went, yes. And I think she might have written about it on the weekend. I haven't checked to see it. But we don't know these people have our standards in their kitchens. Exactly, Leslie. 100% correct. 110%. That's the point I'm getting to. They come here as a backpacker or a traveller. Good on them. Good on them for doing it. It's great that they do that. But they have to meet Australian standards and abide by the Australian law, not their law. So I'll put that in perspective as I've used it on the board earlier in the week. So if I come to Australia from America, I am an American. Does that mean I can walk around with a gun in my hand? Does that mean I can walk around with a gun in my hand in Australia because I've come from the US and I've had a gun in the US? I've owned a gun, which is legal, and I can bring that gun to Australia? Of course I can't. It's a different law in a different country. So there's another example. That's an extreme example, but it's the truth. You got to abide by the law of the country that you're in. Scotty Brown says, don't mess with the Goldberg. Come on, Scotty, I'm not that bad. My parole officer says I'm okay now. He does. Lincoln Patterson, go the Roosters, says, live from Buckingham Palace again. No, actually, it's Goldberg Manor. It's Goldberg Manor, where it never fades in Goldberg Manor. Halan says, the point I'm making is that this started when we were all in lockdown and people at home cooking, and people that didn't cook could get something they wanted. Yeah, well, there's a thing called Deliveroo and Menulog and Uber Eats, and the individual restaurants, some of them were doing their own home delivery as well. So there's still no excuse. The law's the law. I robbed a bank because I was desperate for money because we're all in lockdown. I had no money, so I robbed the bank. That's what you're basically saying, how silly this is. This debate is. I robbed the bank. But it's still illegal to rob a bank, right? So there's no excuse, Halan. I don't know what country you're from, Halan, but welcome to Australia and welcome to our laws and how we work. I guess you didn't like Uber running out cabs. They haven't run out cabs. The cabs are still going. There's competition now. The cabs had it to themselves for many decades, all to themselves. And now there's competition, which is great. I love Uber and the share ride apps, and I'll tell you why I do. And I knew this before Uber and all the others even existed, and that is when you get into a cab, most taxi drivers don't own that taxi, and they drive like lunatics. They do. They drive like absolutely lunatics. I've had an accident sitting in a cab. Been in an accident because the driver was an idiot hitting a telegraph pole. And I know family have been injured in accidents too. I won't go into it all. But when it comes to Uber and all those other ones, DD and Ola and all those other ones, the driver owns the car. He treats it like his baby. He doesn't drive like a lunatic. I have met one that has driven like a loony, but all the others, they haven't. So I don't want to be in an accident again in one of these things. So I go with somebody that has their own car, and it's probably more modern than a taxi, and it doesn't put my life at risk because it's been checked, and he drives it because he knows without that car, he drives it safely because without that car, he doesn't make money. And the cab driver can just go and rent another cab for the day. But you can't with Uber. It has to be your car. That's the difference. And that probably just fell into Uber's lap or Ola's lap, this whole thing. It's like me renting a budget renter car. Do you think I'm going to treat it like my car? When I rent a budget renter car, I'm going to hoon it. I'm going to give it a good blast. I won't say which ones I've hired in the past, but I'm just using budget as an example. But I have not necessarily hired budget. But I'm just saying a rent-a-car in general. You treat it differently because it's not yours. When it's your own baby, you take a lot of care in it because it's making you money and helps to make you money. It's the same thing, same theory. Leslie says, there are still licensed kitchens cooking. There is. There's plenty of them cooking. Takeaway. They're all doing takeaway. I've had the driver going to sleep. I've had that. Leslie, I had that in a cab on New South Head Road outside Sushi Den. The cab next to us pulled up and started tooting his horn. I'm thinking, why is he tooting his horn? And the guy in my cab was falling asleep. And I said, wake up, wake up. And luckily he woke up and I said, pull over here and let me out. And I slammed the door on him and walked off. I'm not getting into that cab. No way. Back into that cab. No way. And that was in O'Sullivan Road I got him to pull into. But yeah, look, some of them are doing drives, but long drives. But Uber, I think, makes you stop after so many hours. These apps have a built-in thing that stops. You can't go any further with it as you. Whereas a taxi driver can go forever, driving and driving and driving and driving. So, you know. Chris Hutchinson says, congratulations on the court case. Live had a similar experience. Justice prevails at this time. Thank you, Chris. Yes, justice does prevail. The truth comes out. I think my statement speaks for itself. There's a lot more that's gone on behind the scenes. But I think my statement about the GoFundMe page and the $745,000 speaks for itself, if you know what I'm saying. I can't say too much, but yeah. Oh, there's lies galore going on. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, the best man won on the day, and the judge is a great guy. He is a great guy, very charismatic, very friendly, down-to-earth guy. Even if I didn't win, I'd be saying this about him. Fantastic guy. Very, very likable. And I loved his pencil case. That he had. Anyway, Helene said, so tell me, Bruce, did the liquor police allow pubs, etc., to do takeaway liquor while they were in lockdown? Yes, they did, because that was passed through legislation. Gladys, the New South Wales Premier here in Australia, Gladys Berejiklian, did allow that to take place. And that's why on Dover Road at Rose Bay, they had a hole in the wall made, and they did that. And a few other places were doing that too. Leslie, Uber, excellent, no comparison, that's right. And Halan loves Uber too. Yeah, because the cars are newer, and it's their car. They take care in their car. That's the point I'm making to you. That's why it fell into their lap, that issue that I've always had with cab drivers driving like lunatics, being in accidents and everything. But times have changed, and Uber and Ola. I tell you what I did do though. I don't know if any of you have done it, but I've got all the apps on my phone. I've got DD, which is a big one. I've got Uber, Ola. I've got them all. And what I do is I do a price comparison straight away, and it tells me the cheapest one. And it's the same driver, because they're like Uber drivers are also Ola drivers. So I had a hire car guy turn up when I booked him on Ola. And he's got all these phones lined up on his dashboard, like one for Uber, one for Ola, one for his hire limousine company. So here I am in a hire car, beautiful Lexus hire car, man. You should have seen it. It's beautiful. It's going to open up the minibar. Incredible. Leslie says, are you going to write a book, make a great mini series? It would. Look, it would make a great miniseries, the court case. There was a lot of stuff that went on that only I and the defense know, that it also involves other people. One ran another board, which is no longer, which people don't know about what's been going on and what this person's really like as well. I can't say too much, but yeah, that's all I can say at the moment. We've got more stuff going on this week, actually. There you go. You heard it first from me. We've got more stuff going on this week. Those people who I've named in the past who we're coming after, expect a knock very soon on that door. Knock, knock, knock. You know, I love getting court processes between about 12 at midnight and 5 in the morning to strike with their subpoena papers. I love it because it wakes people up and they're all groggy. And they come to the door and they get handed it. They don't put up a fight. It's great. It's fantastic. That's how the SWAT team does, the tactical response police force do that too. Get people early in the morning because they're not going to put up a fight. They're half asleep. It's a great tactic. So those people that are still going around writing crap, there's going to be a knock very soon. Very, very soon. You'll be very surprised who we've got on the list. But we'll get to that later. But, you know, I'm happy with the win. Bit disappointed in the amount, but, you know, still happy with it. And the truth prevailed and justice was served. Helen says, do you think Gladys, would have approved this food hopping if asked? Maybe we need to set the standards and legislate. No, she wouldn't have approved it because it's not approved. A pub is approved, regardless if they sell through a hole or not through a hole, Helen. I don't know how much more I've got to get through to you on this. It's not approved. It's illegal, okay? It's against the law. Totally against the law. Also, your lounge room looks a bit dated. Happy to help. Thanks, Hutch. Thank you, Chris. I'm going to give you a plug, Chris. If you need a handyman, you call Hutch. And if you don't pay him, he'll kick you in the crutch. That's Hutch. Hutch the handyman. And Hutch, that's a free plug I've given you. And usually I charge people for a voiceover or an ad. And you've got an audience here too. So there you go. You've just got a free ad. But I'm going to rack your brains for something, as we spoke about off air a long time ago. I'm going to still rack your brains because I've got something coming up. Jennifer says, the missing child has been found. Great. Fantastic. That was Gil. Gil's been found. That's great. I hope he's okay and they're getting him something nice to eat and warm to eat, which is not home cooked from someone you don't know. Helan says, oh man, this is dragging on. Food cooking. Okay, I'm never cooking for a friend again. I don't want to be arrested. Helan, I think you're missing the point. We're talking about commercial, where you get paid and it acts like a commercial premises doing takeaway or home delivery. That's the point we're trying to get to here. You can have friends over. You can have friends. It is good news. You can have friends over and cook for them. That's fine. I'll come over. No problem. But you can't run it as a commercial enterprise. Your business name's not registered for a start. You're not using an ABN. And the list goes on and on. You're not approved to cook in a commercial capacity, and your kitchen hasn't been approved, and you haven't had a food handling skills test either. So there you go, Halan. Hi, Hillary. Welcome to the show. Hello to you. So it's okay as long as money passed. No, it's not okay. It's only okay if it's for you and your friends at your house. Okay? We're talking about... Okay, you get it now. Okay, we're talking about a commercial enterprise where people are charging for cakes or food to come to other people's houses. Okay? Like a restaurant. Okay? Like a restaurant, not passed. Okay, I get it, not passed. Yeah, not passed and commercially operating. It's illegal. Okay? It's like driving a car without a pink slip or a license. You drive with a license, I assume, and a pink slip, then, why don't you get a license to cook at home for a commercial, on a commercial way of doing things, selling food to strangers for money in return. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it, and restaurants would go bust. It wouldn't be any need to have a restaurant anymore. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Anyway, let's move on. We agree to disagree, Halan. I usually say that when I just give up, basically, in trying to explain things. There's only so much I can explain on one night to one person. Our number here is 0481 825 554. Ring up and have your say. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you're calling from outside of the country, you dial 61 being Australia, 481 825 554. Leslie, Bruce, who would handle high-class house rentals, pet-friendly in the eastern suburbs? High-class house rentals. I'd say all the real estate agents around here would. All the real estate agents around the east would. I suppose you just look on realestate.com.au and do a filter on highest price to lowest price in the suburb that you're interested in getting. That's how I'd do it. Because whatever's going to be available is going to be up on realestate.com.au. So make sure you put the filter on highest price to lowest price, and that's how you would do it. You wanting one or you have one? Huh? I've already got one. Hang on. Yeah, I've already got one, Helan. Thank you. I don't need one. Be dangerous if I had two, I suppose. One's good. One's better than none. For a friend with a dog. Yeah, just go on to realestate.com.au and do your filter search there. I think that would be the easiest way to do it. Fastest and easiest way. God, I tell you what, the internet during this COVID thing has been so handy, huh? Tell us about your experiences, people. people watching. Tell us about your experiences that you've encountered whilst you've been in lockdown using the internet. I'll be very curious to know. Here we are. Halan says, I may have a rental property. There you go. There you go. But Leslie only wants the best, though, Halan. She only wants high-end stuff because Leslie is a high-end person. She wants high-end stuff. Okay? Hello, Hello, my friend. Hello, Maurice Mitri. How are you, my friend? Guess whose video clip I was watching last night, Maurice? Have a guess. No problem, Leslie. Anytime. Goldberg supporters are always looked after here on the Goldberg Live board. Always. Always, always looked after. I know who the supporters are. Maurice, give us a call. Ring in. Give us a call, Maurice. Let's promote your business. Or Hutch, one or the other. Or anyone that wants to ring in, give us a call. It's been quiet tonight with the... It's been very quiet tonight with phone calls. Halan, I'm not low end, darling. Okay, that's fine. Great, Halan. Okay, well, Halan, speak to Leslie, see if you can work something out. I don't know. I'm not a matchmaker when it comes to anything, really. I'm just saying it what I read. But Leslie's just making it very clear that it's high end is what they're after. So, Halan, if you've got something, get in contact. PM Leslie and what you girls work it out. But if you've got anything you want to say, just type it in the box or give us a ring here on our number. The numbers are appearing on the screen. What else has been going on, folks? What's been happening? I saw during the week when I ducked out. Yes, I was allowed out for a whole 10 minutes. I saw during the week Harris Farm in Sydney's East. And the glass is getting put up. It looks really schmick. It looks very, very nice indeed, I must say. It looks very, very nice. Very nice. The way they have the glass curved and everything looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I think the shop fit out's already starting, so it's looking good. It's looking very, very, very good. Have you seen or done anything during the internet lockdown? Well, the lockdown as in COVID. Have you done anything at all? Let us know. Video conferencing with friends, which you've never done before, or whatever. Okay, the two girls are talking now. That's good. Halan says, where? Halan, are you... Whereabouts in Sydney are you, Halan? We've got a call coming in here on the Goldberg Live show. Let's take the call. Let's take the call here live on the Goldberg show. Goldberg Live, you're live. Go ahead.
Mr. Goldberg, how you going?
I'm good. Who's that? You're going to have to speak up a bit louder.
Oh, sorry, mate. It's Morris.
Hey, Morris Mitri. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
How are you, my friend?
Oh, mate, I couldn't help myself. I had to call you.
We miss you. Well, I miss speaking to you, Maurice. So, look, I'm just going to give you a plug because everyone loves you and your business and your wife. Mitri's Cleaning. If you're end of lease or you got strata cleaning required, you call Mitri Cleaning. Is that what it's called? Mitri's Cleaning?
Mitri's Cleaning, mate. Number one.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Alad. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, we were just listening to your discussion about buying things on Facebook from people's kitchens.
Correct.
We wanted to weigh in and say that as we do end-of-lease cleaning, we see the standard of kitchens.
Yes, you would.
Yep. And I would never, ever purchase something from someone's house that is not approved by the health department. Absolutely not.
There you go, folks. You've heard it straight from Alant. And they're cleaners, they're expert cleaners, they're professional. They've got a huge following here in the East, where we are in Sydney. These guys know their stuff. I was thinking that you guys would know that. See, that's inside information that no one would have known. So give us an idea of what do you guys see when you're doing these cleans in the kitchens?
Look, to be honest, a lot of the stuff that you would see is probably the same as it would be in a commercial kitchen. However, as there's no regulation, there's no priority for the person who's running that kitchen to keep it clean. Like, most restaurants are concerned because the health department does do regular checks. So, look, you'd see things like cockroaches. You'd see things like filthy ovens, grease, grime, just people who just don't clean regularly. And people don't vacuum the floors, Morris says. So, look, a lot of those things you do see in commercial kitchens and at restaurants, unfortunately. Like, that's, I suppose, the unfortunate side of the game. But you just don't know, and they're not regulated by anything. So
That's right.
I saw all those. I've seen everything, the cakes, and I saw the food, and it all looks good. And I commend the people for trying to have a go during this time. Everyone deserves to have a go. And look, for some people, they might be fine with it. But for us, we're with you on that. We would absolutely not ever put in from a kitchen that's not run by the health department. You'd be silly. You'd be risking a lot of things. So
there you go. I mean, look, people think it's right because they're coming from a country, or they're here in Australia, born and bred here, or they're coming from a country that doesn't have those regulations, so they don't realise it. It's like walking off a plane from the States with a gun in your hand because it's legal in the States and you think it's legal here. You know, it's just not right. And not only what you've said, that what you've found in the kitchens, but also, what about the refrigeration of the food and the not mixing the meat in the kitchen and the chicken and all that, the handling? You know what I mean? There's just no lessons there. And
absolutely, and also the quality. You don't know the quality of what they're buying, and there's a whole lot of things. But like I said, a lot of those things are what you would see in unfortunately some local restaurants as well. The ones that get names and shamed, but without having that risk of being named and shamed by the health department. Like, it's hard. I think it's hard. We would never do it. But other people who are from overseas, they might feel comfortable to do it. And if they are, then good on them, and good on them for supporting people who are trying to have a go. But it's not something that I would ever consider doing. And I saw those posts and I thought to myself, God, that's just a disaster waiting to happen.
It is.
So that was what we wanted to call you up and to give you our input on it.
Yep, very good point. Thank you for that. Look, what's your phone number for people that want end of lease cleaning? Do you do general cleaning as well at Mitri's? Like general for houses?
Not furnished properties, so only if they're empty. End of lease is what we specialise in, but we also do high water pressure cleaning. And we do some strata cleaning as well, so the smaller blocks. We don't like to do things too big. And we also do mould removal. But give us a call, 0416 1000092, and that's Morris's mobile number. So give him a call for business needs. No personal calls for Morris, please. That's his wife can handle all his personal issues.
Morris used to handle my personal issues when I came to see him when I was a kid. We won't go into that because they all had plastic on those magazines. Give us that phone number again so people can write it down nice and slowly.
So 0416.
Sorry, cut out, Ilan. You have to say it again.
0416.
Yep.
1000092.
There we go, folks. 0416 10092.
So 000. So
00092. Sorry, say it again. 0416 10092. That's Mitri's Cleaning, end of lease cleaning specialist. Highly recommended by me and everybody else that's on our board, because a lot of people have used you guys and they love you. Love you. We don't have to promote you because you guys get word of mouth anyway. But there you go, folks. That's the best. You've just heard from Ilan and Maurice. They've told you about what happens at these kitchens that they've cleaned and they've been cooking from home and all that sort of stuff. That's an inside bit of information. You see what I mean?
Yeah, look, we see a lot of kitchens on a regular basis, and they're not always the cleanest.
No.
So be really careful before you make the decision.
Yeah. Look, you know what goes through my mind, though, Ilan? What goes through my mind is this. When people are doing that, it's their last opportunity to make some money. They're that desperate. They've got to do something, right? Good on them. Like you said, good on them for trying to make money. I'm for entrepreneurialism, okay? But if they're struggling that badly, they must be living in squalor or close to it. And
well, that's the risk that you take. That's the exact risk that you take.
Exactly.
That if you don't know what corners they're cutting. And look, I know you weighed in on there was a discussion about the whole cluster of food poisoning in the eastern suburbs, and I had a discussion with a couple of girlfriends the other day about it, and we were saying, like, that it's regular restaurants you would go to and you just wouldn't expect to catch food poisoning from it. But unfortunately, because their produce is staying in the store longer because they're not, making as much being open during this time. Things aren't as fresh, and it's a risk. So,
Exactly.
you may get the same risk in someone's kitchen, plus the level of cleanliness when you don't have the health department over your shoulder can really, it's very questionable. So it's not something we would do, but look, we're each to their own. If someone feels comfortable to do that and to take that risk, good luck.
Yep, exactly. Look, this is why I refuse to eat at markets, and I've always been against those markets cooking food on the thing. There's nowhere to wash, really. You don't see anyone using that one tap for everybody in the park or wherever they are. And I've had food poisoning. I know what it's like. And I've had food poisoning from a restaurant too. I won't deny that. But, you're playing with fire when you're going to these markets and buying food from markets, or even the Easter show, or all these home-cooked things going on at the moment because people are desperate. I've always had a rule of thumb with food since I've had food poisoning, which was a while ago, and that was, if a place isn't busy with a turnover, I won't eat in it. I won't get food from it. It has to be turnover, and that's what it comes to. The places like, I don't know of anyone that's ever been sick from McDonald's, for example, with food poisoning, because they've got the turnover. They've got a massive turnover. It's fresh. It's got to be. And they've got standards as well. But, other restaurants like a Chinese or an Indian or a Thai restaurant, if they haven't got the turnover there, they're freezing that food overnight, or they're doing something to preserve it and get the most out of it. So if you're going to a restaurant with very little turnover, you're risking something which is not good, right? And that's why I go to local restaurants in this area, and I've named them before, who are popular because they've got the turnover, and they've got the turnover because their food's good. And I've got less chance of getting sick from it because the turnover's big. It's fresh. And that's a rule of thumb I think everyone should take up. Avoid shops and restaurants that don't have customers. There's a reason for it.
That's exactly right. And look, food poisoning these days can be fatal as well. It's not a case of, the runs or vomiting. I know people who have been hospitalised. Our cousin was hospitalised not long ago. They're from the Northern Beaches, and he was in hospital for almost a week. So, and that was quite scary because we didn't know it was affecting his kidneys, and we didn't know what was going to be the outcome. So you need to protect yourself, and
exactly.
I guess not
exactly. And, these people that come on and argue with me and call me an arsehole and all this, look, they're entitled to their opinion. I get it. But really, common sense has to prevail. There's a reason why we have a thing called standards, because we're a first world. That's one of the reasons. But we have to keep the public safe. And, these people on the name and shame list are fined, heavily fined. And there was one last year around the Rose Bay area of Sydney. It was up for sale not too long ago either. It was a Japanese restaurant, and it was named and shamed on their name and shame file, and it was fined. And he will never do that again because he'd be stupid if he does. He'll get fined $880 again. But with these people that are going to markets, they're fly-by-nighters, gypsies that never clean their stuff properly, or you wouldn't even be able to check on them because they're moving around all the time. And the ones that cook it from home, same deal. They're not checked. So how do you know? And that's a risk, like you said, that everyone takes. And you guys see the after effect of it all.
Well, we're in people's properties when they're moving out. We're cleaning them. We're seeing the way their kitchens are run and how the level of cleanliness of the kitchen. And it's, for that reason, it's not something that we would ever do. I saw those posts. Like I said to you, I saw those posts and I thought it's just a disaster waiting to happen. And that's the thing. People's idea of cleanliness is extremely different. Like they can say to us, oh, we're so clean. And then we get there and we're like, well, hang on a second, this isn't that clean. So there's no standard. That's what it comes down to from a home kitchen. And unfortunately, it can open up a Pandora's box with a lot of dramas. So You're better off that way. But yeah, I feel sorry for people who are going through a tough time at the moment. So do I.
I feel sorry for them too. But very eloquently said there, Alan. Very, very well said. That's exactly, I think, how a majority of people are thinking there with what you just said there. That's spot on. The key word to all this is standards. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I can have all these people from Mexico and from South America and all these people yelling and screaming at me, but they take off back to where they came from, and they're leaving everyone here sick with after effects of food poisoning. Do you think they really give a shit?
Look, and that's it. And the way that they've brought up, and the food standards that they've been brought up with, may differ to the ones that we're used to as well.
Right.
So you have to be careful. But look, it's up to everyone individually as to what they feel comfortable doing. It's not something that we personally do. I remember I worked for an old gentleman many years ago when I was in my teens, and we had a discussion about food standards, and he said to me, we were talking about the hot dog stand outside the football, for example, where the guy's standing there with his barbecue selling hot dogs. And I remember the boss said to me, he goes, well, where does he wash his hands after he touches the money to buy your hot dog?
Exactly.
Where does the guy wash his hands if he needs to sneeze?
Well, that's the same as the markets, getting food from markets.
So that's always stayed in my mind, or just always. So
exactly.
To some people, they may not think like that. We think like that. We may be different, but it goes down to standards, and do what's comfortable and what makes you happy, and the risks you're willing to take. But yeah, that's not something we would do. No,
look, I've got a friend who is a carny. Okay, in other words, he goes to all the carnivals and he runs rides. Okay, he owns rides, and I used to actually compete with him on a company. I used to own a jukebox company, and he and I were the biggest two jukebox operators in Australia for party hire. This is going back a long time ago, and he's a carny, still is, and he lives in WA now. He used to live in Sydney here, and he told me what he sees at the Easter show. Because he sets up, obviously before the public are allowed to come in with all the other carnies. And there was a guy that had a caravan running, selling Pluto pups. And he'd have them outside of his caravan defrosting these Pluto pups. And he owned dogs. And the dogs were licking the Pluto pups while they were defrosting in the sun, ready to be sold to the public in the next few days when it opens to the public. I mean, that was enough to put me off forever. Ever eating from any carnival, Easter show, markets, and all that sort of stuff. It was disgusting.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Look, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, and we don't know what's going on in those kitchens, so better to be safe than sorry and protect yourself. That's it.
That's right. Enter at your own risk, or eat at your own risk is basically, And since I've had this rule of thumb and kept to it with, eating with only eating from places with high turnover, I haven't been sick ever.
Oh well, touch wood that you haven't just yourself.
Yeah, that's it's a risk. And look, I could walk out the side and get knocked over by a bus, or a Mitri cleaning truck. Who knows? But
I don't know how that drives, so that's not such a.
I see your car. I see your Mitri cleaning mobile with the Mitri's number plate all over the place.
Now, a lot of people do tell us that they see him all over the place, and that's because we're just always in the eastern suburbs. That's the truth. We don't venture out, and we don't try and go out of our comfort zone, I suppose you should say. Born and bred in that's where we belong.
Yeah, well, look, I can see your success, so I'm starting up a competitor to you. It's going to be called Hello, My Friend Cleaning. Hello, my friend.
That might come from.
That could be the spin-off from your company, the Hello, My Friend Cleaning. Any kidding. No, look, I wish you guys a lot of well and luck and all that sort of stuff. And that number again for Mitri's end of lease cleaning, 0416 100 092. Give them a call, Ilanta and Maurice. They're fantastic people. Thank you guys for calling in and explaining that about the cleaning in people's houses. Fantastic.
No worries. All the best.
You too. Take care, guys. We'll see you on the board.
Bye.
Ciao. There you go, folks. Mitri Cleaning. You heard it from them. They're the ones that do the cleaning at the end of the leases of all these people. You can't get any clearer than that. Leslie said you could get bitten by a Pluto pup. Yeah. Hello, Kula. Welcome to the show. Yeah, look, that put me off when he told me that story with what the other carnies were doing. I just, that's this. My mate would not lie about that. He's in the big time. He's in the big league. He has these massive big rides where people drop down from like 100 feet up and all that sort of stuff. He's got mega bucks in these rides and all the carnivals, Easter shows, and the one up in one up in Brisbane, and Melbourne one, WA one where he lives now with his wife. He wouldn't lie, and he wouldn't make that up for the hell of it. I can tell you that now. So I believe him with that, and that put me off ever eating from a markets where they cook the food, or Easter show sort of thing. Unless it's the restaurant in the Easter show, then that's a bit different. But when you got a caravan and you don't know what's going on there, and it's on the move all the time, it's same with the people in markets. They're always on the move, I should say, and the health department can't keep up with them because they're like gypsies. They travel through the night and they're disappearing from one place to the next. You know, what do? There's no comeback even on them. You know, it should all be stopped until they get approved. I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. If you disagree, correct me, please. Somebody, please. I'd love to hear from you. Please. I'm open for a debate. I have no problem with debating this issue because I have had food poisoning. It was actually from a restaurant and from a market. So I've had the best of both worlds, really. So anyway, let's talk about other things now. Let's get on to different topics. If you want to call us, the line's free now. Give us a call just like Ilana Maurice did just then. Give us a call on 0481 825 554, or outside of Australia, put a 61 and drop the 0 and put 481 825 554 and have your say. We'd love to hear from you here on Goldberg Live. It's better off than being dead, right? Let's have a quick message here from Katut.
Hello everybody, this is Katut and you're watching Bruce Goldberg Live. Because he pays me to say that.
Yeah, no, I don't really. But anyway, that's basically it. That's Katut for you folks. I wonder what he's doing these days. I'll have to ask him. I'll have to give him a call. I should put him live on the show, actually. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. He's having a cocktail. I don't know if he's keeping distances from people and all this sort of thing, playing safe over there or wherever he is. I don't know. Ronnie says, Coles Rose Bay thought, okay, some staple items no longer being carried. Okay, let's talk about Rose Bay Coles. Now, on that poll that we had, everyone was saying it was great. I said it was great, but I haven't been there. Okay, I had no choice because once I made a decision, I couldn't delete my decision. So, haven't been there yet, okay? I haven't been there. That's the truth, okay? Even though I said I think it's better, I couldn't take away my thing because I was testing the survey out. So what's going on up there? Who's been up there? And I'll just say this, Coles management are on our board. I made it clear the other night. I said this will be interesting, and I'm just eating some popcorn from Woolies as we watch the Coles management watching us to see what we think of their new shop concept. So there's no John West salmon or prawns. There's no John West salmon? What? I don't buy John West salmon. I buy the Coles brand. I hope they've still got that. Or Paramount and some other one. But they're all made in the same... I was having this conversation yesterday with someone. All those fish things are made in the same places anyway. John West, I think, is made in Thailand now. Actually, I'm eating tuna as well, but I'm a Woolworths person, really. Coles doesn't have everything I want. Well, sometimes Woolworths doesn't either, but I'm just more a Woolies person. Cooler says no A2 skim milk either. What? Yeah, look, they'd prefer to have doggy treats. They'd prefer to have doggy treats and A2 skim milk, which everybody wants, and salmon. Yeah. It'll be wonderful. Serve yourself those macaroons with the COVID virus going around and people using dirty hands to use. Oh, it's going to go really well. See, look, this is an idea that these idiots, and I'll call them all idiots. I'm a very big shareholder in Coles. Huge. I won't reveal how much, but I'm a very, very big... and if Coles are watching this, look it up. You'll see I'm a big shareholder. And I reckon you're making a big mistake with this self-serve stuff again, that you're trying again. Look, Woolworths and Coles tried this years ago with the pasta bars and the salad bars. And I was up at Bondi Junction Woolies when they had this before the Westfield days. And I saw a homeless person going up there, quickly shoving food into his pockets. Straight out of that bar, that pasta bar or salad bar, whatever it was. I've never forgotten about that. They've tried it 1,000,001 times. It ain't going to work. The novelty will wear off. Getting a dog treat taking up room there instead of having what people want to consume, humans want to consume. If you want to get a dog treat, get a sealed one. Why get one where people can be putting crap on it, poisoning dogs? There was a food poisoning, a pet food poisoning thing going on in parks with dogs not too long ago. We don't know if they've been caught or not. I don't know who or what it was, but there was reports that was dog baits going around. How easy would that be? Getting hand access to unsealed products and putting drops of rat sack or something on dog biscuits or treats. That is something Coles needs to address. They need to seal each one individually with little plastic seals. And the same with the macaroons. Put them in those little cell wrap things that they use to wrap cigarettes in. You know, that plastic stuff. Just seal something up. That's all you got to do. And then you can do it and people can use their tongs and novelty things to say, hey, I got a macaroon. I couldn't just buy a pack of Arnott's macaroons. I had to get one with one of those tongs. Oh, come on. Oh, and you know, I saw something funny on our board. I saw, what was it? It was orange juice. People were talking about nudie or something on our board, orange juice. I'm thinking, hang on, how come no one said that you can squeeze your own oranges with all the oranges sitting up the top at Coles? How often is that machine cleaned? How often? Look, this is all novelty stuff that will wear off and they'll be short of stock of what we want and people will go elsewhere. It's pretty obvious. This is novelty stuff. Okay, it might work for the first few weeks or months, and then probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months down the track, the sales figures will go vroom on these novelty things like dog treats and serve yourself orange juice. It'll just sit there. It will sit there like you know, a guide dog asking for donations. It just sits there. It's been there for yonks, or if they've still got it even up there. Bet you some of you didn't even realize it's up there because you've seen it so often you got used to it. But it's up there, or was up there. It'll be like that. No one will use it. It just takes up floor space with stocking John West salmon or A2 skim milk. You know, listen to what the public are saying. It's just, I mean, okay, here's a question for you. Would you eat the macaroons that everyone's been using their... It does sound good in the boardroom. That's a very, very good point, Leslie. Would you eat a macaroon that people have been handling with the tongs or without the tongs? I don't care, because people will try it without the tongs and dirty hands and all that, handling the trolleys and everything, pushing their trolley. Would you get a macaroon, or would you risk giving your dog a dog treat from Coles that's not sealed either, like the macaroons? It's on the tongs, and you give your dog the dog treat. Would you risk your dog's health or your own health with the macaroons? I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Please put it up on the board. But Coles has the best bread. The Vienna loaf is fantastic. I go there just for the bread. Oh, that's fine. You know, the bread slicing machine. I'm sure it's going to be another novelty. There is a thing, as far as I can remember, called a knife that can slice up bread too when you get home. Yeah, that's right, a knife. Yeah, I think it's been around for a little while, this new thing called a knife. Yeah. No ways would I eat anything unwrapped. Correct, Hillary. Same with me. If it's not sealed, I'm not interested. Seriously, if it's not sealed, I'm not interested. People are saying no. Leslie's saying no as well. They would not touch anything. Would you feed your dog a dog treat, knowing that it could easily be spiked? Even the macaroon could be spiked. Look, with fruit, at least it's got its own skin, and you can tell if someone's mucked around with it or squeezed it too hard or bruised it. But with a dog treat, you can't tell if someone's put something on it, some spiteful lowlife. And same with a macaroon. You don't know. It's not sealed. No seal, no deal. Exactly. Jaden says exactly the same. Nikki says the same thing too. Why don't they just wrap it in a little plastic seal? Little plastic seal thing. You're listening, Coles. Listen to us, what we're telling you. Everyone's saying the same thing here. Just put it in. The problem's resolved if you put them all into little individual cell wraps. Wouldn't be hard for Coles to do that. Come on. Talking about one of the big two players of supermarkets in Australia, Coles. If you're watching us from overseas, Coles is one of the two big players. The other one's Woolworths. And then we've got Aldi as the third one, but Aldi's not as big as Coles and Woolies at the moment. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't even, putting my hand in a jar to get a cookie out, I'd be concerned about, because everyone else has been putting their dirty... look, I remember many, many years ago, some of you will remember this, you can look it up, I'm sure it'd be on Google's, on internet somewhere, you can Google it. Do you remember Sizzler, right? Everyone remembers Sizzler. Okay. A Current Affair had hidden cameras showing people going up to the Sizzler salads and pastas bar and all that sort of stuff with the tongs, and what people were getting up to. And they didn't think anyone was watching. I think that was the beginning of the end for Sizzler, because people watched it in disbelief, what the hidden cameras were showing. And it was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And I can't get that out of my head. And when I hear about them trying this old thing again with the serve yourself with the pasta bar or the salad bar, which they've tried 1,000,000 times before and never worked, and they bring it back again, it's just laughable. It really is. Google it if you don't believe me. Google Current Affairs undercover sting on Sizzler, and it's the same thing with the tongs and the plastic covering to a certain extent, but you can still put your hands in. Have a look. I don't make it up. I don't make anything up. I tell the truth. I say it as it is. Some marketing people get so excited by their own brilliance. Yes. Those good old marketing people, as Ray Hadley would say, with the ponytail and the earring. Yep, driving the Ferrari that's probably on lease. Or the Porsche. Yeah, that long hair ponytail there and the earring. Yeah, driving around. I've got an idea. Let's do a pasta bar. It's called job justification. That's what it's called. Job justification. Trying to be different, even though that it's been recycled about 1,000,000 times, that idea, and it still hasn't worked, and it won't work. They don't listen to the people who buy. That's right, Leslie. But their excuse in return is, we've done surveys and research. Oh, yeah, we've done research and surveys to what we want to hear. That's the part. That's the funniest part of it. That's the funniest part of it all. We've done the research. Yeah, sure you have. Hillary says, with the current pandemic, why would anyone buy something that has been touched by anyone else's hands? Correct. There you go. Need I say any more? Are you listening, Coles? There's a message to all the Coles management who are members of this board, probably this Facebook group that we're in as well here, watching this. You can play it back during office hours tomorrow. Play back this live show if you want. I don't care. Do it. Play it back. Think about the next move you're going to make when you has stock sitting there dormant because no one's buying it after the novelty's worn off. What are you going to replace it with? Think a step ahead. Have you done that yet? Think a step ahead. Okay, the other question is, and they said that they showed this on TV, they're going to support local shops. Pasta Pantry and Field to Fork, I think, was also covered in there. Correct me if I'm wrong with any of this. Now, Pasta Pantry has got their food in there supposedly from head office. So what happens to the poor franchise down the road? What happens to him all of a sudden? He's a really nice guy, that guy. He always waves and says hello to me when I walk past. What's going to happen to him? That's costing him sales. If that's from head office, what happens to the poor guy down the road who's the franchisee? Field to Fork, that's a different story. They're the owner-operators up there in Laguna Street, whatever they want to call that street up there at Vaucluse. But seriously, I think they've just got themselves a lemon, and Woolworths must be rubbing their hands together, ready to open that store up down there on Albemarle Street, if it is going to be a Woolworths store. Because I'll tell you what, folks, my connections in council and everywhere else say there's nothing being submitted. Nothing. Zero. And that's both councils, Wallara and Waverley. So I don't know where this newspaper is getting this information from that Woolworths are going to do something there. I don't know where they're getting it from. Several sources have said Woolworths. I think it is too, but there's been nothing submitted, which is the weirdest thing of it all. At the moment, that demolition is being done by Caltex. It was the part of the deal when they sold those Caltex stations on Bondi Road and on Albemarle Street at Rose Bay. That Caltex were to get rid of the soil, which has got oil in it, and the tanks underneath, which they're doing. They're keeping to the deal. But there's no submission as far as I know, or any of my contacts can find, from Woolworths, or the other name that they trade under, which is some other corporate company they trade under, which is their development arm of Woolworths. Nothing, zero. So I don't know what's going on there. I really, really don't know. So there you go, folks. That's what's been going on. Fruit is a different story when it comes to handling food. Fruit's totally different because it's got the skin on it, and you wash it anyway, unless you eat it without washing it. I don't know. I wash everything. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about any of the topics we're discussing tonight, or anything else it can be. You can ring us up and have your say, or give your company a plug. Say whatever you want to say. I'm here to listen, here to debate you, here to talk, or maybe agree with you or disagree with you. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, give us a call on the number below there, 0481 825 554, or from overseas, 61481 825 554. It's been a very interesting night tonight, I must say. Very interesting indeed that we got to talk about this sort of stuff. Anything else going on in the neck of the woods, just give us a yell. We've discussed already tonight about these homemade food people trying to make homemade food and selling it on a commercial level. And a lot of us disagree with it. I am certainly a big advocate against it. Same with the markets, same with Easter show, all that sort of stuff. Totally against it. Because with food poisoning and caring for food, and if anyone's had food poisoning, you know what it's like. It's terrible. You can't describe it. You feel like you're going to die. But I mean, what does dying feel like? I mean, I remember somebody in hospital saying to me last year when I was in hospital, when I said to them, I feel like I was going to die, she said, well, how do you know what feeling like you're going to die is if you haven't already died? And I thought, yeah, that's right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. It's like what happens to the NRMA when the NRMA breaks down. I don't know. I haven't seen the NRMA break down. Have you? Please let me know. If you've seen the NRMA break down, what happens to the NRMA when it breaks down? Please let me know. Give us a call, let me know, or type it in the box. Anything else that's on your mind, folks? Just let us know. I mean, Ronnie, where are you? Is Ronnie still there? Is Ronnie still on our show here? I'm just having a look here for Ronnie. No, Ronnie's not there. I thought he was. But anyway, anything else you want to discuss, folks? I'm here. We're just talking about a lot of things tonight. And if there's nothing else, I'll just disappear. Scared of transport situation as regards to COVID. Okay. You're scared of catching it from somebody or touching the railings or whatever. Are you worried in that sense, Leslie? Hello, Ronnie. Yeah, look, ring up, Ronnie. Give us a ring. Give us a ring. Nothing in particular. Nothing else in particular. Okay. Public transport tomorrow is going to be a total nightmare. Total nightmare. They're already preparing for an avalanche. I mean, it just... An avalanche. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be one big hit back to where we were. I think Corona could resurface again. We could get a new wave. If we're not careful. I hope we are careful and it doesn't come back ever again. 2020 has been such a bastard of a year so far, hasn't it? With the bushfires, some floods up north, and now this Corona thing. 2020 has been a total write-off. It really has. I'm sure a lot of us want to forget 2020. I suppose we'll never forget 2020, and we'll talk about it from years to come with generations, and we'll be teaching this at schools and unis and medical people from when we're all gone, dead and buried, as one of those years that something changed all of us very quickly. Very, very quickly. And it made us feel like what it was like to be in a jail, but in a different way, in our own homes. Leslie, so crowded. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be an absolute nightmare. I feel sorry for anybody. Who's going back to work tomorrow, like back to their office or on the transport tomorrow, than working from home? See, a lot of big companies are now seeing that people can work from home through the internet. And they're now thinking, we don't need to rent these big spaces anymore or offices. People can run from home, so we'll save on rent by letting them work from home, which is more productive, supposedly, and we're going to save on all this rent. So we're going to vacate our big premises and only go for a little premises that can hold maybe 10 people instead of hundreds in cubicles. Continuing, you know, when you walk into those big premises and they've got cubicles of people on phones or at their desks, those days are gone. Totally gone now. People are waking up to what is able to be done now with technology, working from home, more productive. Write your book and get our minds off it all. Write a book. I could write you a whole... If you thought Tiger King was big, this defamation court case is even bigger. It was everywhere in the media. It was like... I was getting contacts from people congratulating me. I didn't even know, from Thailand, the UK. It was worldwide, this. It was on the radio. I had friends up in Brisbane telling me that it was hearing it on the radio and on the ABC. It was everywhere. It was a landmark decision. It was landmark because it draws the line. It's probably the most expensive post that's ever happened on Facebook. $35,000 post plus court costs, remember? There's court costs too involved, and that's not cheap, I can tell you that now. So it's going to be running into the hundreds of thousands. Anyway, we'll work all that out later. Full-time at office with parties working from... Yeah. Look, a lot of companies out there that you think you're talking to somebody at the office, they're really working from home anyway. America's been doing it for years. Liz, actually, who I get on this show, she works from home now. But she was doing that just before COVID. She started doing that because she used to always whinge about the getting on the bus all the time. It used to be the new drama of the guy sitting next to her stinks on the bus, and oh man, it used to be hilarious. And now she works from home, and since COVID, it's even more so than ever before. Ronnie says, "Home, I'm coming month. Okay, get onto it, Bruce." Get onto it. Get on to what? The book? The Tiger King. I should be called the Facebook King. I'm going to grow my mullet, which I used to have in the 80s. I have to put some photos up of me in the 80s with the streaked hair and everything, just like Tiger King, but back then in the 80s, not now. In that sort of new romantic-y thing, you know. Like I've said before, instead of Duran Duran, we had to walk. No, we didn't. But that was the image back then with the Rick Astley skivvy too, the black skivvy rolled up to the neck with the makeup on and everything. Oh yeah, I can tell you some great stories. Working in the clubs in the 80s and doing some TV stuff as well. The book, Leslie, yes. Love hearing Lizzie. Yeah, I haven't seen Liz. Pardon me, I haven't seen Liz for a few days online. I don't know what's going on over there, but she's probably at Tesco. She's probably at Tesco queuing up in the queue because they've got some strict things in the UK. My family's over there, and they've still got lockdown going on over there, and it's driving them all bonkers. And it's I tell you what I saw the other night, which was really interesting. Do you remember that pop star Sophie Ellis Baxter? Sophie Ellis Baxter. Yeah, Murder on the Dance Floor. She had a hit with. She's been singing live from her house with her kids, her boys. She's got about 5 boys, and her husband's a bass player in another band. And she's been singing live, which is really good. In a like a karaoke situation in her house, and it's really good, and it just shows you what people are going to do just to keep themselves occupied. And there's an ad going around at the moment in Australia. Please don't podcast. It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Facebook King, terrific, yeah. Well, look, there's been arrests in this. Not me. But there's been arrests, there's been police cautions, there's been all sorts of weird and wonderful threats. There's been all sorts of weird and wonderful things with this court case. It's been amazing. Totally amazing. And would I ever do this again? Yeah, I would, in a heartbeat. Absolutely. The second time's easier than the first. Second time's even easier because you've learned everything from the first one. So, watch this space is all I'm saying at this point in time. People now know where the line's drawn with me. It's quite simple. And I wouldn't hesitate to do it again. No problem at all. None. During this whole thing, we've had Team Goldberg has had a takedown of a board. We've had an arrest. Someone was arrested. We won't say who now. A police caution on another person. We've had a guilty verdict found on the defamer themselves. So we've had 4 things happen. It's been pretty good. We've had a very good success rate. So anyone that tries their crap, they need their brain examined. They really do. They really need a hard look at themselves. But, I'm still trying to work out this GoFundMe thing. $745,000. And asking for money, and they got $745,000. I said it in the statement. You guys can read the statement and just work it out for yourselves. I suppose it says it in the statement. No one should get away with that stuff. That's right. No one should. No one should. But a lot of people who have contacted me during this whole saga, who have been defamed themselves by other people, asking me for advice. I'm not a solicitor, but asking me for advice. And there's been quite a few from all around the world. They just don't have the resources or the finances to fight it, or they don't have the heart to fight it. They just think, oh no, I just get on with it. I just got to, duck and weave and hide and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, don't do it. Stand up to these people. Bullies and trolls and defamers, they're all the same. They're all connected. All 3 are connected. There's no doubt about it. Get them kicking and screaming and drag them into court. And all these armchair critics who support particular individuals, they're nowhere to be seen in the courtroom. They don't even turn up to give support. They're just big mouths behind a keyboard, cruising. That's all they're doing. They're cruising for me or anyone else to take them through as well. They're all full of it. They're full of hot air. But my advice to anyone that goes through what I've been through is take them through the courts. They'll soon kick and scream and yell and apologize, and it'll be too late for them. But, the energy is needed is huge. Yeah, it is. It is. The guts is huge and the energy is huge. But look, a lot of people that know me personally outside of all this Facebook stuff know that I'm a very big fighter. I'm a fighter. I'll stand up for what's right, and I don't back down. Physically or financially, I won't back down regardless of who they claim to be, who they say they are, what threats they make. I don't care. I don't back down. It's as simple as that. I don't back down. And I stick to that. I always have, and it's always been a winner for me. And I won't hesitate to do it again. And you know what? I've never lost a court case, ever. Ever. I have lost one, and then we appealed, and then we won, because common sense kicked in, and the court didn't know. This is a long time ago. The court didn't know the difference between gross and net. Can you believe that? They didn't know the difference between gross and net profit. That particular person lost. So, in other words, they lost. So I've won every single court case. Look, I wouldn't take someone on if I didn't know I had a damn good chance, trying to be as unbiased as possible. Because when you're involved in it, all your emotions are going crazy and you got your blinkers on. I'm going to get that person and blah, blah, blah. But you've got to look upon it from a bird's eye point of view, look down on it and say, have I really got a chance in this? Is this really wrong, what's going on here? And if it's wrong, you take them on. That's my advice I give to people. Take them on, kicking and screaming. They'll soon wake up that they're not keyboard warriors in a bedroom that can't be touched when they're typing away, writing crap, making up rubbish and trying to destroy someone's reputation, or actually destroying someone's reputation in my case. You were probably like that as a child. Yeah, look, I was pretty tough. I went to to various schools because I was a naughty boy. I won't deny that. But you learn. Look, it's called survival of the fittest. Really, it's animal instinct. Really, you're in the jungle, and weak people come last. And being a business person has really toughened me up. And I suppose also being in the industries that I was in from a very early age, and they're all egomaniacs that you're working with in TV, radio, especially radio and the music industry that I was in at a very early age, at 18 onwards. You learn. Because here I am as a little young 18-year-old out of a department store selling cigarettes, being thrown in with all these egomaniacs and arrogant people. And back in those days, there was no, workplace requirements or anything like that. It was just the way it was with all these people. There wasn't health and safety, and there wasn't, you got to go to HR and all that stuff. It was the hard school of knocks, and you had to learn to stand up for yourself. And I was thrown in at a very, very young age. And the funniest thing was, when I was 18, working at a Sydney radio station, a commercial radio station, okay, they used to have insurance people come around and have meetings with us in the boardroom about defamation, what defamation was, because we had to not allow stuff to go to air. They had to tell us what to allow and what not to allow to go to air on the radio station. Otherwise, our station would be sued, and I'd be losing my job because I was part of the on-air team, like on-air production team, okay? I wasn't an announcer when I was 18. I was involved, though, in the on-air production because you got to do production. You can't just... Things just don't magically happen and end up on air. You got to produce it all. So I was one of the guys involved in that, putting ads together and paneling stuff and all that sort of stuff. And we all got taught. And I got taught at a very young age about defamation. And when this all happened from somebody I'd never even heard of in my life before, I didn't even know the name existed, all the red flags went up in front of my eyes. You never forget. It's like riding a bike. You never forget. Here I am at 54 years of age, or actually I was 50, it was a year and a half ago, so I was 53, seeing what I'd learned when I was 18. Can you imagine how I must have felt? I was just, it was mind-boggling, totally mind-boggling, especially when you don't even know who the person is. Never even heard of the name in your life before. I had to do some asking around, and I found out things through the connections I've got, who this person was. I didn't even know her. Didn't know her for a bar of soap, didn't even know the name existed. So you can imagine what shock I was in. Who the hell's this, writing this crap? Can you imagine? Stranger, writing all this rubbish you've never even spoken to in your life before? Never even heard of the name. So you can just imagine it. I figure you hate unfairness. Yeah, I do. I hate unfairness. I hate people that are very unfair, or trying to get through to people that are just stuck in their ways and they won't see the big picture. And that really is frustrating. You could probably tell I was getting frustrated earlier with a certain person on this board whilst this show's been going, trying to explain how it's called standards, and the person still couldn't understand it until they realised I'm talking about running commercial kitchen. And that's frustrating, trying to put brains in statues. Sometimes you just can't. And that's just the way it is. Anyway, folks, I think it's time to go. I'd like to wish you all a good luck this week because a lot of you are back to work. And that's basically it. So have a good one. Stay safe. Keep well. And thanks for contributing tonight and watching. I'll see you next time. Goldberg Live. Good night, Australia. Good night, worldwide. Good night, everybody.
You've just been watching Goldberg Live, brought to you by Product Name. The name behind the product, behind the name. Nurse. Yeah, I'll come back now. You hear?
This has been a Mad Ways presentation, darling.